viewers, you're welcome to 1Youth 2Skills TV. I am Genevieve Iferike Onwuma, and here with me is
Mr. Steve Onyebuchi.
I'm so excited because we have a very special guest in our midst, yes, in the studio. Yes, his name is Dr. Law Mefor. He is the present commissioner for information in Anambra State. Doctor, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you for hosting me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you were recently appointed the Commissioner of Information and Public Enlightenment in Anambra State. And looking at your antecedents, your position you held in the media in the past years, I wanted to find out from you, what is the scope, what is the plan that you have in your mind in putting the vision of Mr. Governor to a very value that he is looking out for?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yes, I was recently appointed, some 3 months ago, and of course since then, one has been trying to get into the groove. Like you pointed out, it's a familiar terrain. Media is my forte, even though I trained in a number of other things. I practice media more, and given the challenge of information and strategic communication of the Anambra State government. Yes, challenging indeed, but exciting, because if you are in a familiar terrain, it's always easy for you to maneuver your way and begin to make an impact in no time. And when I came, I found that the sterling achievements of the Soludo administration were grossly underreported. So the first thing I did was to begin to get around the media that happens to be what I may call a professional forte. And I enlisted their cooperation, the media practitioners. And between then and now, I think the narrative has considerably, significantly changed. We are getting a fair reportage now. And it's always easy to market a good product. Soludo has done so much with so little and without a borrowing in the last 32 months. So reporting those achievements to the Anambra at home, outside Anambra, and the general public has been the what they call the main objective of the Ministry of Information under my watch. And we'll be doing that. I've introduced a number of programs targeting what you may call external communication and internal communication. For internal communication, I'm relying on radio, to some extent television. I introduced the program called Ask the Commissioner. Every week, every Thursday, between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m., I take the head of a ministry department or agency to the radio station there to discuss their essence and achievements. And this has been going on now for 5 to 6, perhaps 7 weeks now. And is aimed at connecting the government with the people. I reckon that the general population of Anambra, up to 50% of them may be rural, if you define the term rural community appropriately. And for me, the easiest way to reach them is through the radio. It may not be TV as such, it may not be newspapers and even what do they call it, social media. Many of them are not there. And incidentally, These rural communities constitute the majority of the voters, or at least 50%. So the desire to connect them, reach out to them rather than sit down in the comfort of my office waiting for them to come. Was informed by the need that perception is by far more important and greater than reality. And the governor may be doing so much unless the people really know and appreciate the positive perception that he needs as a governor, as a government, will be lost to some of these details. And that is changing now. The people are beginning to ask questions because it's a live program. People are calling from all over, even from outside Anambra State, asking questions about what is going on in their own communities. And many appreciating, and many even coming to terms with the fact that it is the Soludo administration that did XYZ, which they hitherto never knew. That is the power of communication. And for external communication, I also introduced the Solution a Weekly Bulletin. Every week, we focus on an MDA and take their essence, also their achievements. And in 12 to 16 page bulletin, we produce every Friday, and we send it out through the X, that is the former Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, and everywhere, targeting our people outside. And many are also bringing in the feedback, shocking feedback, that they never knew that this much is going on at home. Last Friday before the last, we focused on the youth ministry. What the youth ministry is doing, particularly the 1Youth, 2Skills. We took that apart and showed a lot of pictures, and my information officer here did a cover for that week's weekly bulletin. It's been everywhere, and feedbacks are also very fantastic, showing that you need to really go out there. If you don't say, here I am, nobody says that there he is. And we are doing more. And I am looking at even deepening that strategic communication approach. I want to move the paradigm a bit, shift the needle a bit, to focus a little more on what I call a community-based communication. I was thinking of what somebody like Professor Jerry Gala did, when he was the head of Mansa. That something community aiming to get to the communities to appreciate what is going on. I am thinking of the possibility of bringing back the town criers. There must be a way of modernizing what they are doing, getting the town criers to cry for the government, tell the locals what the government is doing. Like your program, 1Youth, 2Skills. You may not believe, many people may not know. And if you connect the communities going down to the basics, the town criers, being able to bring them on board, and once in a week or even once in 2 weeks, they echo what the government is doing in their own communities. It goes a longer way. And of course, you have 179 communities in Anambra State. I can't possibly be in all these places. So the ministry needs an extension of its capacities to the, down to the grassroots. At the moment, my influence, or rather the influence of the ministry, may still be limited to local governments where I have information officers. And I need to use them to get to the town criers. And by so doing, everything we are doing will get to the people, and feedback also received. And if that is developed, you will begin to get the feelers of what the people really want, and the appreciation of what is going on at the moment. When you do what you call a problems diagnosis, you may surprise that the focus of government in particular areas should change to what the people consider to be moral priorities. I recall once buying a car for my wife, and she didn't appreciate it. When I bought the car, I thought I had killed a lion, but she did not appreciate it. I later found out that what she wanted could have been solved with less than 200,000. So you need to hear from the people. You need to know what they consider their priorities, so that you add it to the vision of the government. It becomes more holistic. The reason is because democracy is about the people. It's not about Soludo or his commissioners. No, they are there to serve the interests of the people. Soludo has a vision. He has a very rich, very robust, people-centered manifesto. And I was privileged to serve in his transition committee. I was the sub-committee chairman on inclusive growth. We were chaperoned by our big sister, Dr. Obi. And we were able to tease out a huge document on what should be considered the blueprint for the Soludo administration. It was teased out from his robust gubernatorial manifesto, some documents like Anambra Vision 2017, and of course some ideas, some of the experts that were assembled, brought to the table. One of us in that transition committee is Dr. Alex Oti, the incumbent governor of Abia State. So you can understand the caliber of people that the Soludo brought together to help him take through his ideas for recreating Anambra, rebranding Anambra, developing Anambra into a smart, livable, and enjoyable city. So much is going on, and the job of getting the people to understand this vision, understand their achievements, understand peak for the government.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that beautiful information you've given to us. Yes, we still have more questions to ask you, sir. We want to ask you, 1Youth 2Skills Solution Program. It's one of the key projects that Mr. Governor has been doing in the state and making sure the youth are engaged.
Yeah.
Please, what's your ministry doing? What's your ministry doing to further promote the project among Indian Anambra?
Yeah. First, let me share my appreciation of the program itself, the 1Youth 2Skills. We are in a highly certificated environment where people emphasize the certificate and titles. And many of these certificates and titles can put food on the table.
Yes.
And in the final analysis, if you hold the chains of degrees and you can't put food on your table, there is something wrong about it. And that is the perspective that helps me to understand the importance of these 1Youth 2Skills, which there is a place we visited, the female village being put together by the Ministry of Culture, Entertainment and Tourism. I was there with my brother Commissioner for Youth and for Youth, right? And we were there, and he said something that struck me. He said that the program, the 1Youth 2Skills, has now even grown to 1Youth multiple skills. And it's something I took that away when he intervened in the responses of the 3 commissioners that were there. I believe that indeed there is this need to operationalize whatever we think we have acquired a formal education. And to be honest with you, I was privileged to attend a total of 4 universities in Nigeria, 3 federal and 1 state. And I should say that I understand the Nigerian educational system. The curricula, they are not functional enough as far as I am concerned. What that means is that if you really want to be educated, you have to do something about it yourself. And Soludo understands that also, that there is a need to arm people with hook to be able to fish, to feed themselves. This is very fundamental. And if you look at the 14 skills that can be seen under your curriculum, you can see that they are hands-on kind of skills. Learning to do something with your own hands, with your brain, do something that should be able to, if not anything, take you out of the labor market and be able to gain 1 or 2 means of livelihood through it. And if you try hard enough and luck smiles on you, you may be able to even take 1 or 2 other people in your wing as an employer of labor. That is a creative way to go. Rather than acquire first degree, master's degree, and sometimes even up to PhD, 5 years counting, you're still marching the streets in search of job. That's the simple philosophy behind this innovative thinking by Professor Soludo, Governor of Anambra State. And he has actually demonstrated its viability. If you consider the fact that the federal government has adopted this in
Yes.
You understand that?
Yes.
So it's something that is quite key. And since my arrival here in Oka, since 3 months ago, I have granted over 100 interviews to TV, radio, social media, everywhere, newspapers. And I have consistently listed 1Youth, 2Skills amongst the top 6 achievements of the Soludo administration. This will show you the premium that I attach to the program. And even my office will come and be here with you. It's also a demonstration of my belief in the program. And wherever we go, we mention it. When we attend the Ask the Commissioner radio program, which of course is a multi-radio station connected program. The anchor station is ABS, but there are other radio stations that join either live or rebroadcast. I normally do the intro and then hand over to the commissioner or the MD of an agency that is visited. In my intro, constantly, 1Youth, 2Skills, features, seriously. And we also have, my brother commissioner, I told him that the ministry is open for collaboration. If there are specific programs we can develop, which I think is actually apt. If we can develop some specific programs, radio, TV, I keep emphasizing radio because I believe that by radio and through radio, we can reach over 50% of the Anambra. Many of them are not, they don't have the TV culture or social media culture. Radio is handy. Radio is, I reckon that we have over a dozen radio stations here in Anambra State, and many of them are quite popular with their own segments, and populations in the Anambra population. So I can go on and on. The program is important, and we promote it for you gratis. You don't pay us doing this. No, you don't. We do it free.
Coming to that, the same 1Youth. I visited a secondary, a primary school recently, when the head teacher was talking to a little child of 2 primary 2, he said, "Look, don't teach the child what to do, allow the child to do what he knows how to do best." No. Recently, the Commissioner of Youth Development from South Africa visited the Obosi community, and they have adopted what the government is doing at the state level, and they call their own one household, 2Skills, bringing the whole community to a place to learn the same skills that the state government are doing. As the Commissioner of Information, what can you do, in assisting the Ministry of Youth, to expose this thing to other communities so that they can emulate what the Obosi community are doing?
You see, backstage you raised that to me, and I find that extremely commendable that the community went to that extent in domesticating that policy. And I believe all the communities in Anambra State should emulate that example. And one way is to even start with the members of the State Executive Council, persuading them to take that to their own communities. We are from different communities in Anambra State. And then, of course, use the power of the radio, like I say, to urge the town leaderships. In Anambra, you have the Igwe Council, then you have the town administration headed by the President General, is to talk to them really, using the Obosi model. And I also think that talking to them should be formalized. It should go beyond informal communication. I'll discuss with my brother Julius Agamba, and we really have to discuss and see the possibility of jointly writing the towns officially, because the towns may have the capacity, but without knowing that they can take this route. We identify the areas we think they can come. They too can also take their own initiative and follow the path and pattern that they think will ultimately benefit them more. And those paths and patterns that they think will benefit them more, they should be encouraged to do so. But I do think that if we leave it the way it is, for example, if you didn't talk about Obosi, I would not have known. And many others may not also know that such a thing is going on in Obosi. Obosi and adapted trackable distance, and you're not aware. So we need to really accentuate it, escalate that information, urge them what they call moral suasion, and then write them if they require additional sensitization, teaching, whatever. I believe the Ministry for Youth should be able to send some trainers that will guide them if they decide on the path they want to really go. Because when you say one family, 2 skills, you see, if you come to Anambra and you move around, is something that people should really try and do in the morning hours, between 8 and 10. Every normal person should be somewhere doing something. But if you move around our villages, you see able-bodied young men between 20 and 40 idling away, many drinking, many abusing drugs openly, they don't care anymore. And of course, when you have people grow to the level where they can no longer learn anything, it becomes a problem. And because man must work, as we normally say in our local power, man must work. You find many of them straight into all manner of criminality, crime and criminality, violent crimes, including kidnapping and robbery and so on and so forth. And we have often seen a correlation between drug abuse and crime, because when people abuse hard drugs, the tendency is to lose all a sense of reasoning, and their rational appreciation of life itself begins to alter, arriving at what you may call the altered reality. The end result is all manner of things, and we must all grant that in Anambra of today, crime is quite rife, and some kind of crimes that are unheard of, things like kidnapping, and if you look at the pictures and videos of the people caught, look at their age. I saw the other one, 19-year-old. What does that tell you? These are youths that have lost their ways. So this 1Youth, 2Skills will help to recover, to save those that can still be saved. I believe that most of these youths are salvageable. If a similar or this is a kind of social intervention that is trying to create what we call a safety nets, social safety nets, actually encouraged to succeed. And people also sort of encouraged to even join the program itself. Because my program commissioner, told me, commissioner for youth, he told me that when this whole thing started, that only about 54 communities joined, even with persuasion, and that is not up to even 40% of 179. So you can see the frustration, and now that the thing has started and people are beginning to see the fruits, the seriousness, and all that, many more people are willing to join, but many more still don't know what is going on. They have to be educated. I believe that is where the Ministry of Information comes in. We need to keep talking about it, the benefits, the availability, the affordability, because the training is basically free, yes. And when you are done with the training, the government is still worried about mentoring, government is still worried about the upstarts and starter packs, all these things government still tries to do to ensure that you don't just pick the skill and go to sleep. You have means of putting the skill to use, and in a matter of months, you are putting food on your table, and God helping you. You can also take some people off the labor market, which is the ultimate aim of government, curing unemployment, curbing crime, and putting the whole Anambra population into a very productive use. It is doable. It's happening already. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
But the reward for a good job is more job. So they should do more. Now that you're moving from 2Skills to multiple skills, we'll help you drive it. Okay?
You made mention of the crimes that the youth of the Anambra, what they do, which is heinous. Please, I want you to tell us, Dr. Law. The government has been doing so well when it comes to security. It's doing so well. Soludo administration, they are doing their best. They are doing very well. Tell us, this 1Youth, 2Skills now that is being mentioned, how will 1Youth, 2Skills help curb insecurities in the states?
Yeah, you see,
Yes,
I told you before that there is a correlation, between poverty and crime, between unemployment and crime. You have correlation. It's there, obviously, and that is why even the Bible tells you that an idle brain is a devil's workshop. That's it. So you can see even your program of a 1Youth, 2Skills is trying to fulfill. When you engage the idle brains, the idle minds, they become useful to themselves. In social psychology, clinical psychology also, we define a maladjustment. We define maladjustment as to be like, and when to be like is to be like another person. That is living the life that is not yours. Now, we also define adjustment as being useful to yourself and being useful to the society. If you use that definition, you can see what 1Youth 2Skills is trying to do. Yes. Making people to be useful to themselves and useful to the society. Very fundamental. Because once you are maladjusted, as a maladjusted personality, their life is always negative. And crime is an integral component of a maladjusted personality. Crime of all sorts. Because when we talk about crime, mind of the inquirer, they just go to the issues pertaining and stealing. Crime goes beyond stealing. All manner of crime will be associated to that maladjustment when you are not useful to yourself and useful to the society. So the 1Youth 2Skills or multiple skills, as the case would soon become, is trying to get the youth that are willing, because some of them are no longer willing. What the 1Youth 2Skills can offer is not the kind of thing they think they need now. They want something bigger. There is a big problem confronting Ndebo at the moment, not just Anambra alone. The return of idolatry, return of ritual killing, cultism, and when you kill for money, as a social psychologist, my worry is not even whether the killing will produce money. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because certainly, I'm sure it will not, right? But my worry is the belief of the youths that such is possible. And the growing number of the youths have fallen into this category. And it has led to what we call Okite. Okite is a kind of ritual that they perform, and they believe that once they are done with this, money will come. You'll be surprised. This Okite, what it goes with, involves a human blood. And if it is that bad, you can see how violent and extreme such is. And you find it in growing numbers in Anambra State, in Anibo, the return of idolatry, those things that Christianity tried to abolish in the past, Alose, Opese, all those things are coming back. The kind of the age bracket of the youths trying to call themselves Dibia, SMY, and all that is alarming. Very young people, well below 40, some are below 25, very young ones. Now they have abandoned the church. They are now talking about Dibia, SMY, all those things. And I believe in the efficacy of prayers. Why don't they do this within the church? Do you understand what I'm saying? Once you begin to bring back these things we have put aside to follow what we consider a more civilized way of worshiping God. You get my point? Yes, and again, the motive is also suspect, because you are not going back to this our past because you really want to find a better way or more realistic way of worshiping God. No, what they are going for is what they call egompute. The kind of money that 1Youth 2Skills will not be able to provide. You see where education is needed. Ministry of Information is planning to launch a campaign in that direction. We want to launch a campaign against drug abuse. We want to launch a campaign we want to return to what we call social rearmament. Our youths have lost their ways. So as you are doing this on one hand, trying to capture those who are willing to get into the path that will lead to progress and a happy future. Those who are into this egombute, we need to also do something about them.
That's true.
So that they don't corrupt many more younger ones. And the issue of cultism also needs to be confronted, because the more we leave a cultism to eat into the society, is the more we now see that cultism has now left the citadel of learning. Started out there in 1956, I think, way back in either University of Ibadan or somewhere around, through Wole Soyinka and others. It meant well then, but it's no longer what we see today. Now cultism has left the campuses now. Cultism is known on the streets of Nigeria, particularly southern Nigeria. And it's no longer about the students anymore. You find people who have graduated, they still continue as cultists. You see even secondary school students and pupils in a primary school are now being recruited into cultism. So the society, the government must be concerned about some of these things. I worry. I'm a parent, and I know the danger these younger ones have been exposed to, and it's becoming the fact to the point that even Nigerian cultists have exported cultism outside Nigeria, and they have formed the criminal gangs all over the world. Their origin is Nigeria. So we need to get worried. So you go to a place like South Africa, to Malta, to Mauritius, to Italy, to UK, and you find the criminal gangs of Nigerian extraction. Their foundation is cultism. These are facts. It's not hidden.
That's true.
So there is job to be done. And crime, since poverty produces crime and criminality, whatever solution you bring that will cure poverty is a solution to crime. And 1Youth, 2Skills is an example. So you are a crime chaser. You are a criminal matters problem solvers. So that's what the program is trying to achieve. Get people to hook, to learn to fish for themselves. So you are giving them hook with which to fish. You're not giving them, I don't like this thing they call palliatives. You understand what I'm saying? I don't believe in it. When I say people get a land, but I don't care. I know, look, giving people palliatives, 5 kg of rice, 3 days at most. That woman will get 3 kg of rice. If she's serious enough, 50,000 naira can start a small business for her. On a table like this. Yes. Food stuff. Table. She doesn't have to start with a bag of rice, a bag of beans. She can start with small, a pint of gari, a pint of this, a pint of that. At the end of the day, her capital, 20, 30,000 naira, 50,000 naira. She will be feeding her family from it. I know those who have grown from that little to become something. When you give her 10 kg of rice and it ends there, she eats it and poverty multiplies the next week. So we must consciously plan on interventions like this. So when Soludo is saying, give them skills, give them startups, you can understand the logic. Soludo is not saying give them bags of rice. Even though he can also give bags of rice. But that is not his, because he knows that giving the bags of rice, that rice will finish the matter of maybe 2-3 months. The question is what happens after. So give them skills, give them startups. Do you understand that? You train a young girl that is interested in hairdressing, and you finish, you are able to give her what is this thing called? A washing, hair dryer. You understand that? And you help her to pay for a small shop. You have actually started a happy life for somebody who is serious.
That's true.
That is what the 1Youth, 2Skills is trying to achieve.
Just get hold of that logic. Then you will now see that what you're doing is even spiritual. You're not giving people food. You're not giving people fish. You are giving them cutlass, hoe, to go to be able to farm for themselves. Farm. Like Soludo would always say, farm to feed. Don't even feed anybody. Just feed yourself. Because the day you harvest whatever you farm, you will not go to market to buy the same thing. And if this becomes our habit, that every little space we are farming something, the backyard, growing up, our parents had, our mothers had gardens behind. I can't, my mother I can't remember my mother going to market to buy bitter leaf. That's impossible. There's bitter leaf in the house. And one of the chores I hated the most was washing bitter leaf. You understand? But you have to wash it before she returns, otherwise it will be. Do you understand that? Yes. She could buy, she could pluck all these things, pepper, all these things around. But the current drive for what we call urbanization is actually wiping all these virtues away. That is what Governor Soludo is saying we must return to. Farm to feed yourselves. 1Youth, 2Skills. Help yourself. Just simply help yourself. Don't even help another person. Because it begins with you. You cannot give what you don't have. If you can't help yourself, you cannot help another person. Two blind persons can't make progress. Do you understand that? So one must be seen, even with one eye, to be able to lead another that is blind. So we must intensify this program. We must.
Doctor, you spoke a lot about seriousness of the youth.
Yes.
And you know that when it comes to security, the youth are the ones that are taking the whole issue on them, because they are the one being killed and they are the one killing people.
That's it.
So everything is rotating within them.
That's the workforce. That's the productive workforce.
As a doctor, which I know very soon you become an associate prof and prof in future, what is your advice, to especially the youth of Anambra? Because the Commissioner of Youth Development, when he was going, he toyed the whole 179 communities, putting all his structure, his power together. The ministry went there and did all this, and they find out that there are some centers that is equally managed by the youth. They are not serious. What is actually your advice, as a final take-home note to the youth of Anambra?
The productive workforce anywhere in the world is the youth population, because that is where the strength lies, the zeal to venture out there. Age has a way of blunting so much. Growing up, your life is full of dreams. You are eager to conquer the world. But by the time you get to the second half of life, 50 going up, you begin to see life from different perspectives. You are losing esteem. You are reorganizing your thoughts to something you may call a manageable proportions. Because all along you have often thought that the world is at your feet. You have the world in your pocket, but it's not the reality. So if life were to be a football match, right? The first half should be ending around 50. Then the second half, 50 going up to the balance that will take you to 100. Now, those who are on this other side, majority of them, over 80% of them are the youths. Because if you define the youth operationally to be around the 40, you will see how important the segment is. So whatever you get them to do at that time, that segment of their life is very fundamental. Somebody said, if you are if you are not handsome, right? If you're not handsome or beautiful at the age 20, you are not strong at the age 30, you are not wise at the age 40, and you are not rich at the age 50, forget it. So now, it may not be scientific, but it gives you an idea of how people should grow in a normal society. Nigeria is a very abnormal place, so you so you can see this theory being altered, radically. But it's a gauge nonetheless. To answer your question more directly, I think the youths should do three things. One is to try to take back their own state, take back their country. They cannot afford to surrender their state or their country to criminals. People who don't constitute even 0.0001%. You now abandon the whole. It's wrong. Now, the youth that should rise against crime and criminality, rather than do so and even join in the criminals, this in itself is an aberration. They are joining the criminals. Why are they doing so? Because they believe that crime is pain. Yes. Why do you think that nobody is talking about armed robbers anymore? It's because they have found out that kidnapping is paying more. So why go to a man's house in the dead of the night when you are not sure there is anything there? You kidnap the person. Instead, keep him there until his people gather money. The youths are now joining that. We must break it. It's a vicious circle of negativity that must be broken. Because the more you allow that to be or become a fad, is the more they are in a position to win more converts to themselves. That means bigger trouble for the state, for the country. It is in that context that you will understand why Soludo is now bearing his fangs against crime and criminality. I'm aware that Soludo is planning big, major confrontation with insecurity, confrontation, head-on collision with insecurity, crime and criminality in Anambra State. He started with the appointment of special advisor community security in the person of Chief Kene Makai, a veteran. So many things are changing. If you go around the streets of Anambra now, you discover joint patrols between the vigilantes and the police. This was not happening before. What does that tell you? There is now a new synergy between the police and the local vigilantes. So you hardly can see vigilantes alone now. You will see them in joint operations with the police. That is part of the strategies. Many more strategies are coming. Many I can't afford to disclose here. But I want us to have hope, keep praying, and let us look forward to this Christmas. Soludo has vowed that this Christmas will be one of the best celebrated. That's much I can say.
Thank you very much, Doctor. This information is well packed. In fact, having this interview with you is one of the best things I will tell you that I'm going to take home today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming to our studio.
The pleasure is mine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and that is how we come to the end of today's interview with Doctor in 1Youth 2Skills TV with my colleague here.
Stephen, you with you,
Yes, and this is how we come to the end of this studio, the interview. I am Genevieve Iverike Omuma. See you some other time. Bye.
1Youth 2Skills. 1Youth 2Skills. iji wee bụrụ mma